and it's going to be, I think, about a little bit more than 30 minutes. Entertain any questions you may have afterwards. If not, you can always find me via email or call me, and we'll be happy to assist you in any questions you may have. This is more like a little overview of what we have in our cloud services, and just to refresh a lot of people that are aware of it, and also for the newcomers, just to introduce what is available in our cloud offerings. So as far as the cloud services, I mean, I think it's very clear to a lot of the resellers that is a great opportunity for getting recurring source of revenue, since it is charged on a monthly or semi-annually or quarterly basis. To us, selling appliances for many years, it was a great option, but at the end, we realized that the cloud services was the way to go. And now we obviously have both options. I think it's a great source of revenue, and it gives a lot of flexibility to the channel and to the end customers which way to go as far as their communications. They complement our QX appliance line. Our Cloud PBX, the GUI is the same as what we have on our appliance PBXs. So you're familiar with one, you're going to be able to do the other. We have today two services for cloud. One of them is ECMon, or Epygi Cloud Monitoring, which is a monitoring slash management tool for your devices. I'm going to explain a little bit more later. And then there is our Epygi Cloud QX, which is a virtualized version of our appliance PBX that we're offering in essentially two separate flavors. It is instance-based. It is not a multi-tenant product, which just has its advantages, and pretty much has a complete set of features. So as far as our ecQX over other solutions, I mean, it's a great solid platform. We've been on this business for 20 years. Selling appliances is our own design. We did not use asterisk in a bottle. So it has grown over the years, actually mature over the years, to the point that today we feel we got an excellent feature set, and we're adding new features that are a little more unique, more specific to meet customer demands, and the cloud platform is based on that. We have an excellent team of people, not only developers, but also support, and from that perspective, you're well covered. We understand that in order to install these products and take maximum benefit, you need to have some assistance in how to configure some of the things, and guidance in how to dimension your opportunities to what the product can do. Advanced functions, most of the unified communication stuff is included. We do have some features that are applied to verticals like call centers. We also hotels, multi-site, schools, or educational institutions. And these are call center, call recording, audio conference, video conference, dial and announce, alarm reporting, and so forth. Those are some of the unique features that we have. The system monitoring is a plus. Many PBX providers have the PBX on the cloud, but they don't have this tool that we have available, which kind of complements the service. Very competitive pricing. And of course, we have the appliances I mentioned earlier. So you're getting the best of both worlds with Epygi, because if you have customers that want to go from on-prem to cloud, you can do it with us. And if you have the reverse, they have cloud services and they want to go on-prem, we do have the devices. So you don't have to go to another company. You invest your time in learning about one product, getting support from one company, and that's us, Epygi. And there's always new features. For example, we're working on working with Microsoft Teams, which is in high demand nowadays. So we're finishing that up. We'll probably publish soon configuration guides for interacting with Teams. As far as ecQX with partners, you bring in your own SIP trunk termination. We're not a carrier. We're just providing the cloud platform, hosted platform. You bring your own termination as you normally do with the endpoints. And the provisioning is fairly easy. It's one of the things that we enjoy on the on-prem system. We spend a lot of time and money testing the most widely available SIP phone models and brands for auto configuration, auto provisioning, and that extends to the cloud product also. So you don't have to do that research yourself, bring in a phone and try to test it in your lab. We have done that for you. We just want you to focus on selling the solution. Each end customer, like I said, has his own instance. Being instance-based has benefits. I mean, you don't have dependence on a centralized software that is running more than your tenant. If something happens to it, if you did an update to that software, it would affect everybody. In the instance-based scenario, you just activate or update only the ones that you want, and you don't have to disrupt everyone. And if there's any issue with that device, you can spin it up, that instance, somewhere else in another hardware box and not affecting everyone else. So there is flexibility in being able to move these instances around on different servers if you're going to manage that yourself. From a performance perspective, the taxing on doing instance versus multi-tenant is not that much. So it's not a big issue. Now, we offer the ecQX in the United States. We have extended it, of course, to Canada, and we also offer it in Mexico. The links are good enough that we can do that. So we have customers that are running instances running on our servers in the cloud in the United States. And the way we do it is we have a portal that lets our resellers log in directly, and then on the store, order instances, order options, and pay via PayPal. We also let in some cases where PayPal is an issue, we just invoice the reseller separately, like on a quarterly basis or a semi-annual basis, and then they still use a portal to do the ordering, but we just handle the payment separately. We do have another option, and that is for those customers that want to use the software, not use our servers in the cloud. In this case, we provide them the software ISO image to them with instructions and manuals on how to install, and we give them a sort of a base configuration we recommend for the network. For those channels that want to run their own cloud, they want to run their own servers, either on their facilities or on their local cloud. And it is actually a very popular option. A lot of our customers overseas opting for that. The pricing is very, very aggressive, very comfortable, and it gives them the opportunity to get into this business and feel the waters without having to make a major investment up front. So from a performance perspective, for example, using VMware, you got an 8-core 2 gigahertz type box with 32 gigabit of RAM and 200 gig of storage, and you can probably run from 20 to 32 instances, all of them running about 10 simultaneous calls. So depending on how you load up your traffic, you can put more instances or less instances on a box, but it will give you an idea what you can run. So from a cost perspective of what we've seen in hosted platforms, that is not your major cost. There's plenty of margin to be made leasing these devices through hosted providers. And then you monitor the instance through EasyMon. It is included. You don't have to pay for that extra. It is included when you buy the cloud product. In this case, the EasyMon is run in our servers. It is not run. We don't give you the EasyMon to run on yours. You just connect the instances to our cloud service. It's low bandwidth, so it can sustain that connectivity without being a burden. There is no software license to buy up front, no maintenance, no additional support. So it's a very low cost entry to this market. Like I said, you don't have to put money up front. You just got to get your business plan organized. How you're going to do your ordering with the way you're going to handle the billing, what kind of added services you're going to do to your customers, and the markup. And away you go. You start with one small server, and you change that as you grow. You need to have a backup plan, your own plan, in case there's a failure of the main server, how you're going to restore in a backup unit. So at a minimum, you need to do that. But again, you don't have to spend up money up front. We can do it on a quarterly basis. In the case of our cloud, it is done on a monthly basis. You can cancel anytime, and that's a little differentiator on what we have to offer compared to other companies. So again, no long-term contracts. We do it on a by extensions. For example, we have right now for our ISO a basic and a pro. The basic includes most of the uh, features that you have on our PBX. Plus, it does have audio conference, and it does have call recording and a couple of other options there, eQall. And then the Pro pretty much adds call center features, EAC, ACD, AOC, Bargen, which are features mostly for call centers. So we just bundle some of the features that we sell on licenses separately into two groups, Basic and Pro, to make it easy. However, if you have an interest in something different, it can be done. Uh, so and you configure once you install the instance on the server. Of course, you open the GUI, the instance, and then you configure your customer from there. So if you want to do branding, we can do that. By the way, our system allows you to load your logo without any additional cost or license. It's just a hidden page that lets you load a logo that will show up on the GUI. Okay, from a feature perspective, everything is included. There's a list of them over here, some of them highlighted. Find me, follow me, pretty much in this group of features to be able to be reachable all the time. The same thing with call relay. We also have multiple extension ringing. We have parent-child extensions. That means that you attach two phones and they're tied up to the same extension. An example will be a hotel room that has a bedroom desk phone, and then there's another phone in the bathroom, for example. They both are the same extension, so you pick up a call from any of them, like a party line. So parent-child does the same thing, but at the IP level, and very useful for being connected in more than one device. Dial schedule notifications, which are features that are very good for schools, for panic buttons, emergency type activities, or just regular notifications, like on a hotel where you want to notify of, for example, yoga on the pool at 3 p.m. You can do that through schedule or dial notifications. Time of day routing to change routing depending on the day. And our cloud products have an embedded WebRTC server. That means that you can receive from the WebRTC calls supported by browsers, many browsers, and terminate them to any SIP device, either on the PBX or outside. So it gives you a new dimension, particularly for people that want to benefit from having accessibility on their websites to diverse departments in the company for support. You may have certain pages in your website with certain products, and a click to call type button, and people can dial from their laptops with audio and then be able to reach out personnel that can assist them in those areas for marketing or sales. We also have a feature, Chrome Click to Dial. It's fairly new, where you can add an extension to your Chrome browser, and now pretty much connected to your PBX and your extension. And when you move your mouse on any open window in your Chrome browser over a phone, a pop-up window will show that will let you click to dial. It will ring your extension on your desk and then dial that destination number through the PBX. So it makes it for a very quick, easy click to dial from any page to connect to the destination number. By the way, all these features, we have them listed in our website under what's included and then what is purchased on a licensing scenario. For the cloud, we do have those available on a separate document. As a matter of fact, if you are using our ecQX cloud platform, we don't do basic and pro. We do per extension with basic features and audio conferencing, and then you can buy additional audio conference. You can buy a call center, call recording, and the DCC Pro desktop console separately. So it's bundled a little bit different than it is for the ISO image. Okay, now to go to ECMon, again, the monitoring tool. It is a growing product. Right now, it gives you, it started doing monitoring, but it now does monitoring some administrative tasks. Essentially, you can connect your EC Cloud instances or your appliances. And it does several things, as I mentioned. Uh, the idea is to provide better service to your customers. Really, your customer doesn't benefit from ECMon directly, but you as a reseller benefit tremendously. You can see all your devices and instances in there. You can set up notification for over 70 events on the PBX, and you can set up for alarms on those events. It gives you the ability to respond quickly, be notified early on. For example, bad quality calls, you can get a report on that. And if you're alarmed about it, you may be able to be proactive in responding to your customer, calling him up and saying, hey, we're getting reports that you're having bad quality calls between this extension and this number. Let's take a look at it. And that goes a long way. Sometimes little problems like that tend to build up at the customer, and it's not until he's very upset that he's going to call you with the issue. By that time, it may be a little bit too late. You have to do damage control. But if you're proactive, uh, uh, you have a better chance. So this gives you the ability to make decisions how you're going to handle your service. We're just helping you be alerted and be aware of what's going on with your systems. As far as maintenance, you can do configurations, firmware updates, reboots, get stats on utilization and so forth through this system. Very importantly, you can change configurations remotely, especially when you have an appliance behind a company router. Instead of setting up ports on the router to be able to get remotely to it, you can use ECMon to set up temporary VPNs between the appliance and the cloud and be able to reach over your GUI remotely on the device or on telephones behind it directly and be able to make configuration changes. Again, the idea is to provide better customer service. Now, some of the things that you can do, again, get a snapshot of all the QXs that you have available on a centralized directory. You can get special settings, like unique ID, firmware version, uptime direction, and so forth. You can see on a graph CPU utilization and get some stats. You can get the notifications, remote log into the QX devices, get alarms, and so forth. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to change my screen to an ECMon screen just to show you. We got a sample login. The text may be very small. I apologize for that, but right now we have here an individual, Lee Williams, and he has several devices. Depending on the icon, the devices with the cloud are hosted instances. The devices with the shield are physical appliances, and the devices with the screen would have been, we don't have any here, but there would have been your own ISO hosted cloud. So as you can see them all. The ones in red indicate that these are devices that are not available right now. They're not connected to ECMon. So you have name of devices, you have what address they're in, whether it's public or private, and then the uptime, downtime on ECMon. So if they connected to ECMon today, then that's you start the timer for uptime at 0. So you can see all these devices staying active for days and months in here. You can filter this. You can go to configuration window here where you can actually change. Actually, it logged me out. Let me log in again. You can actually change upload and download configurations from your PC into the platform. okay, and then from the platform you can assign those configurations to different devices, okay, and the same thing vice versa. Save the configuration from the devices into the platform. For example, I'm going to go to this unit here, here in Orlando, and in this particular case, uh, we're going to be able to see statistics on what licenses are available on this unit. For example, which licenses are activated, as you see here, unique ID, host address, firmware version, and so forth. And when was the last time it was last updated? By the way, I'm going through the window here, and a pop-up is showing up on this number. That's the click to dial Chrome pop-up I was mentioning to you. Of course, it doesn't apply to this number because it is a bogus number, not a real phone number, but you get the picture. You get this window to be able to do calls. You can do system loading, where you can see some of the simultaneous calls that have been active for a period of time, and also CPU utilization. You can also see, in this particular case, we can go, for example, for the last 24 hours, and it's fetching the data. You can see some historical information about active calls. That would help you probably adjust any kind of SIP trunking your customer may have, or if you're doing this on your own hosted server, move it to a different server due to for performance optimization. Pending events will show you any event you may have on the system that you have configured to be able to be notified and alarmed. And the configuration backup is, again, be able to do here's, for example, the event showed up is a picture of some events and what they are reported by this PBX. You can do configuration backup and restore, and then you can update the firmware, and again be able to do the GUI configuration. So it's a fairly simple and straightforward application. Here you see all the configurations that have been backed up, what version they had before, what is the newest version, and you can either restore those by pressing this button into the device, or you can delete this from the archive. So very powerful tool, very useful for the reseller to provide a better service. I'm going to go back to the presentation here. Okay. So I think we covered this as far as ECMON, backup configurations. And we're going to have some updates to it. You're going to be able to see a map if you want to. If you got a lot of devices and you want to see on a Google map, you're going to be able to fix their location, and eventually we're going to be able to click on those if there's an alarm. So it gives a little visual representation of where they are located. It looks a little bit cool, more than being a real essential. And then we're planning on adding the ability to manage music on hold. We have some customers that have many units and they want to manage music on hold for marketing purposes from a central location. So they would upload music on hold, and then you can manage the downloading of this into a playlist on the devices from the ECMON, instead of having to log into each unit individually and take care of that. Here's an example of some useful events on ECMON, system reboot, things that you can get notified on if someone reboots a system. If you have an amount of credit on a routing rule and it expired and it's not used anymore, you get notified to take care of the problem. If the call quality is a bad quality, you can get a warning on that. If you're in a redundant system and your redundant unit is not available, you can get notified for that to take action. Uh, if you did call recording and send it to an FTP server and there was a failure in that communications, you can get alarmed to resolve the problem. IP phones that are not registering, it can same thing. If someone else logged into the system, and if there has been a software update. So this is just an example of the things that you can notify with with or control with ECMon. Now, we also have an option in our gateways. Not only do we have PBX appliances, but we also have gateways. And our gateways are a little bit unique. They do include a firewall, first of all, so you can connect them to broadband directly and have them protected. They do include an integrated auto attendant, which becomes very useful on a failover situation. And we got an FXO and an E1T1 gateway in case of a hosted installation. If you have a high reliability type customer that he wants to have a backup connectivity via PSTN in case of broadband or hosted platform failure, you can use our gateway in that mode. And what it does is that our gateways now include a 24 extension registration capability, which means that you can register phones on the gateway as a secondary failover registration, and the phones are registered as a primary with your hosted provider or you as a hosted. In case there's a failure with the primary to the hosted, the phone can immediately send and receive calls to the gateway. So you can do extension to extension calling through the gateway, and you can do inbound and outbound calls through the gateway. In this particular case, you install the gateway to either FXO or an E1T1 trunk. And if you do outbound calls based on how you dial, you can go out of those trunks. If you get an inbound call on those trunks, then you can use the auto attendant to do a second stage dialing and reach any extension. So, for example, let's say you have an FXO gateway. You may have one or two FXO ports. As a failover, you have 50 extensions on the hosted. You lose broadband. You can immediately do extension to extension calling. You can call to the outside going through one of those two FXO ports. Obviously, you don't have as much capacity as using a SIP trunk, but you still have the ability to go out and make calls. On the inbound, usually SIP trunk providers, if you lose your connectivity to your registration to your device, they will fail over any incoming call to any number. You can designate the SIP trunk provider to send it to your FXO port for the inbound. Once you receive that call in, the auto attendant would answer and it will let the customer dial your extension. You don't have full PBX features, but you do have connectivity during this failover time until you resolve your broadband or your hosted platform. So it's a very powerful functionality for our gateways in these scenarios. From a pricing perspective, like I mentioned, there's two versions of ecQX. There is the hosted by us. In this case, we charge per extension per month to resellers directly. They do the markup. You add your SIP trunks, and it includes the ECMon. In the case of the ISO image, we give you the software. We charge you a lot less on a per extension per month. And you just add whatever server, whatever cloud provider you want, and it does include the ECMon service with it. If you're going to use the ECMon with devices, with our QX devices, you buy that through our portal separately. It is for one device $20 a year. If you have 10 devices, it's $14, $15 a year. Renewable every year. So it's very little money to get this monitoring platform service through the portal, or if in the case you're overseas, we bill you separately on that, not through the portal. So you mark up as you wish the services. So, all right. Then we're almost at the end, and what we want to talk about here is not really a cloud service, but it's our eQall Epygi Softphone. We just released it for Windows and Android, and we're going to get Apple iOS by summer. We're working on that right now. It is our own Epygi Softphone. It is bound to work and configure tightly coupled with our QX appliances on our cloud. It is to us an excellent opportunity to complete the solution. Now using this as an endpoint, you can use eQall as a replacement to your desk phone or as a complement to your desk phone. Um, all you need is a data connection inside the company through your broadband or outside at home through your Wi-Fi connection if you're on a mobile device or if you're connecting your laptop or in the mobile devices through your data plans. If you go to a hotspot on a coffee shop, it will connect. The connectivity on mobile devices and the laptops to your PBX is very good. Uh, and is using QR codes that we configure and provide through the QX device. So the registration of the connectivity is very good. We have some things that we have added in there to be able to do the registration of the connectivity a lot easier through NATs, and it's working very well. The application that you download from our PBX, from our portal, or from the Android store for free. All you have to do is buy an extension on your QX appliance. So it is a permanent eQall extension, and you buy it to that device, and then you can configure it with eQall on any Android or any Windows. For the cloud, it is offered as a monthly service, just like we do extensions. You pay an extra amount, and then you can get an eQall uh, license on a monthly basis. So it's not a permanent, but for the appliances, it's a permanent license, just like our other licenses that we offer today. One thing I want to mention is at the bottom of the screen, parent-child. Here in the United States, we have this coronavirus scare coming up now. I think it's going to be a mess, and a lot of people are going to be forced to stay at home with their laptops working. Well, if you have a QX or a cloud service, you can go and get eQall installer on your laptop and essentially register as a parent-child extension to your main extension in the office. And you can be sitting at home making outbound calls, receiving inbound calls to your desk extension while you're doing that on your laptop. So very easy to do and mitigates this issue of having to reconfigure things or creating remote extensions. You just do that with eQall and you're away you go. Okay. There are a couple of versions. Actually, there's only one version. There'll be a second version soon, but the first version released, it has several features. It lets you do 4-line appearances. It gives you ability to register multi-SIP accounts. You can get your voicemails. You can get a call quality indicator. The usual type of functions, hold, 3-way call transfer. You get caller ID. There's a call history pane where you can actually re-click to dial there. Uses several codecs. It works with your native dialer on the phone. If you have on Android, you can, when you do an outbound call, it pops up a window that you can either use your regular dialer through cell phone or you can use eQall. Provides you multiple contact lists, your favorites, Outlook contacts, and so forth. And it has programmable keys, which I'm actually going to show here shortly. Very useful. It's I think it's a little bit unique from a soft phone to have that because you can emulate your desk phone keys. If you have a desk phone with BLF keys program, you can have the same emulated functionality with these 20 keys available, what we call MPKs, on the phone. So I think I'm going to show you here in a minute our eQall. Let me try to open it up. A push notification, so it doesn't eat up your battery life. From that perspective, is very very good. You got an instant messaging. You can do chats on your eQall with other users, or you can even send messages to phone screens because eQall is connected. If it's connected as an extension to your PBX, you can even send to other Yelling or Groundstream phones messages on the screen, at least in one direction. You can have secure communication via TLS. And then second version this summer is going to have other options. We're going to have video, group chat. It's going to have open VPN capabilities and other features. Let me go show you here in the screen for a second. Let me see. Okay, I think I am showing you. Hold on a second. Let me try this again. Okay, I'm showing you eQall right now. This is the main screen. This is where you actually dial here to make a call. If you go here, it shows that I got 3 voicemails.
Press 1 to
okay,
change personal settings. Press 3
and I can press 1 to get to my voicemail.
Received on
okay,
Tuesday,
and
December 17 at 6.
I can receive a voicemail. I can also, if I go hit here, let's say that I'm going to call, I can get my directory, and then I can look at my Outlook directories, and I can make a call by pressing the button here for those directories, those contacts that do have a phone number. I got my personal. This is selected contact that I have extracted. Actually, no, this is something else. This is if I added those in the eQall directory list. But the one that I was mentioning, favorites, these are people that I have selected from these directories to be able to call. For example, I can call Andy White right now at extension 150.
This is Andy, please.
And then I can see here in this screen up here, or these bars will show me quality of the call. There's a little pop-up. It's telling me how many kilobits per second, jitter size, and it is excellent. This time I'm leaving Andy a voicemail, but here in the bottom you got all this. You can put a call on hold, okay, or you can restore. You can show the keypad. You can mute the speaker or the microphone. You can send. You can transfer the call or start a new call and place on hold. So you can manipulate all this call handling through here. I'm going to hang up this call, and then I'm also going to show back to contacts. I was looking at favorites. Now I'm going to be looking at my PBX contact. These are all my PBX contacts in here, if they're selected to be displayed. And again, the Outlook. So excellent. You have pretty much all the contacts that you need to have in the world showing up here on your screen. We also have chat here. I have 3 ongoing chats, like for example, I can go to MJ and then send them some messages in here, okay? And then he can reply, okay? He's not available now because the message is showing in red. If he received it, it will be showing in green. So excellent to be able to collaborate with other colleagues in the office. If you want to, and we're going to have a group chat shortly, but again, you can have several chats going in at the same time. If you have the window minimized, it will give you a pop-up if you got an incoming call or a chat message. So you cover as far as that is concerned. Now, if you look at your, this one is what I want to show. If you click on this button in here, you get your MPKs. And in order to show you that, I am going to have to show you this screen. Okay, here are the MPKs. So there's a little window that in the case of mobile devices, you can slide in and out. In the case of Windows here that I'm showing you, it's just you click on the icon and it pops up the window. So here we got 20 programmable buttons. I have programmed some of mine for different functions. I can get line information if I click on this. I can call this extensions from a customer. And these are watch extensions. That means that if they're on the phone, it will show them in red. If they're ringing, it will show them in yellow. And I could actually intercept the calls clicking on those. Or I can click in here to be able to make a call to those extensions. I can reach out to my park extensions where I want to park a call or retrieve a call. So if I'm talking to someone and I want to park the call, I click on Park 1 or 121. If it isn't green, it will become red, flashing red, and then I can page a colleague and say, hey, pick up a call on Park Extension 121. They'll go either to the button on the phone or they go here to the MPK and press in here and pick up that call. I can go to conference room. I have 123 and 124 as my conference rooms. I have a general voicemail for the company where voicemails to sales come on in, and any one of us in sales can pick that up by clicking in here. Actually, and I could do also recording start stop or ACD log in, log out. So pretty much the functionalities that you can do on a button, a BLF button on your desk phone, you can do with this MPKs. Okay, very powerful feature, not available on other soft phones, especially on something that is tightly integrated with Epygi PBXs. Okay, back to our presentation. So pretty much we're done here. As far as our competitive advantages or a summary, everything is designed by Epygi in-house. We don't rebottle asterisk or third-party PBXs and change the GUI and give you a product. Everything is done by us. We got over 20 years in this business, so we know what we're doing. PBXs, gateways, and now with a Quadro on the QX line of products and now the cloud services, excellent technical support and technical training. By the way, we have excellent videos on tech training in our website that you're welcome to watch anytime. Integration with most of the phone models and brands, auto configuration, many SIP trunk providers that we have tested with also. No startup costs, no long-term contract. Pay as you go, very easy. Try it out first, see if it works for you. We're not going to hold you to the fire for paying us money up front to get this thing off the ground. And you can combine cloud service and PBX appliances. You got a customer that wants cloud and tomorrow they want to do on-prem, we got the product, or vice versa. Sales@epygi.com. If you want to see any demo on any of this, let us know and we get our tech team show it to you, whether it is call center, eQall, ECMON, you name it. Or if you want to get a license for your QX device and play with it for a month, we can do that at no cost to you. And here's our phone number and our website. Okay, and of course we're on the social media. So at this time, I'm going to let chat. Any questions anyone may have in chat, you're welcome to send me a question. Okay. If not, you can send me an email to mario.cuello@epygi.com or sales@epygi.com. So it looks like we don't have any questions at this time. So we're done with the webinar. I thank you for your assistance today. Stay tuned for the other series that we're having in March in our website. Please register, and we hope to hear from you soon. Thank you very much.